This is the Seven Figure Standard Podcast, hosted by Arash Vasugi and Mikey Stiller, with mindset and strategies to help you break through and create personal freedom.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Seven Figure Standard Podcast. I'm Mikey Stiller, joined by my co-host, Arash Vasugi, and we're so thrilled to be back with you for our 52nd episode. That's right. This podcast has now been live for an entire year, and I just want to say thank you for joining us on this journey. The podcast has been so much fun, and we look forward to bringing you so many more episodes with amazing content. If you have any ideas of content that you want us to cover on the podcast, go ahead and send us an email, hello@vosscoachingco.com. But for today, we are going to give you one of the greatest tools that you can use ongoing forever on your success journey. Arash, do you want to go ahead and introduce it for us?
Sure. It is reframing. I love this concept. It changed my life. It really did. It really changed everything for me. Because once I started practicing this, and I did this unconsciously, I didn't even know what I was doing. And I started bulletproofing everything in my favor. I'd have a setback, and then I'd bulletproof and look in the good in it. And it sounds so simple, but when you make it a practice in your day, it's going to change the game for you. So you're going to have adversity. The journey of success is never linear. It's never an arrow up. It's a combination of a lot of setbacks and a lot of wins for the person who sticks into it. But reframing is going to be your greatest weapon towards letting the outside results control you. So if something happens, think about a time that it's happened where you're like, I didn't like this, Like, I don't love my failures, but I embrace them so much. It's not like I look to fail. I'm not like obsessed with let me fail. I know failing is part of the deal. But I always reframe and I'll say, that was good. That was good for me. That was good. So you bulletproof everything in your favor, and it's going to change the game for you.
Raj, you talk a lot about getting neutral and having a neutral mindset. Would you say that and reframing are two sides of the same coin, like they work really closely together?
I think they work very closely together, but reframing happens with your higher faculty of perception. Perception is reshaping how you see an event, a circumstance, or your life in general. So once we start practicing reframing, it is going to be a huge tool for you. It is going to be a huge tool. I remember one day I was getting coached by somebody who used to coach the Yankees. And I hired him to coach me. And he was on their 90s World Series team. And one of the first concepts he worked with me was reframing. I said, what did you just say? And he said, reframing. I said, I know the concept. I've been practicing it for the last 5 years. But it was so interesting because the people who are conscious competence of how they're creating success, like they know why they're creating success, they understand reframing. Now, someone might be listening to it the first time. Like I work with people all over the world, and they'll come to me and they'll talk to me about problems. I reframe it right away. What they think is a problem, I think they're sitting in their acres of diamond if they just keep persisting a little longer. So I get them to shift their perception from my awareness. But when we start doing it for ourselves, it's a game changer. If somebody has a big problem right now, let's reframe this for them. The problem is not right now. The problem happened a week ago, a day ago, 6 months ago. Yet they're putting it like it's right now. I want you to reframe it. I want you to think, well, the problem isn't right now. It happened from the past. What is the solution? Right away, what is the solution? So we want to get really good, because reframing, the only way you're going to do it is by being in control of your thinking. The only way you're going to do it is by pivoting forward and looking forward, because every time you pivot forward, you're reshaping your identity. But if you really look under the hood of what reframing is, it's a foundation of somebody who operates with a positive mental attitude.
Raj, you just asked two incredible questions, because so often we're getting emotionally involved with the problem instead of emotionally involved with the solution. Now, do you use reframing mostly in real time, or if you have a really negative memory, do you reframe past memories as well?
You can do both. I usually do it in real time. I'm so good at learning from the past, so I don't really let my past control me. So I think when you're building your foundation from the beginning, we want to have a great attitude towards our past. We may have had trauma, we may have had some things that were not very fun, but now you look at it later in life, you go, that really served me. Like I always talk about, like my dad passed away when I was 15. I don't think I'm doing the work I'm doing right now if I didn't go through that. I really don't believe it. So I think the good in it, not that I loved losing my dad at 15, but the good in it, it developed me. It developed me on a deeper level. So there's always a good in everything, and there's a bad in everything. It depends on what you're looking. So when we're talking about reframing, you can always look at what's bad in something and find it. And you can always look at what's good in it. Even in our adversity, there's so much good that comes from our adversity. But attitude is the hack to create success. Attitude is in everything we do. Reframing is a part of your attitude. And this is a tool that I'm so passionate about because it's the little difference in your attitude that's going to make the big difference in your result. It's not your whole attitude. It's a part of your attitude. It's a piece. But if you study successful people, they're so good with the fine details. This is a fine detail. And this is a weapon around your tool belt that will really guard yourself from drifting, from sabotaging, from speaking what you don't want into existence, from dehypnotizing yourself from the ridiculous self-talk. Reframing is the foundation of that.
I love that you just said reframing is a part of your attitude. Would you say that reframing is a part of your attitude that says, I always have at least one move? Like I can always move forward. I can always move through whatever this situation is, whatever the struggle or obstacle is, I've got a move to make.
Well, always. But, you know, reframing is a part of who we are. And, you know, people don't understand how impactful the smallest action, the least action, the action you think doesn't matter, does matter. You got to do it anyway. You could be losing all day. And then you take that one action, now you have momentum going into the next day. The person who reframes says, I can always do one more thing. You want to leave every day with a win. You can have an extraordinary day. You got momentum working for you. You could have ups and downs all day. Leave that day. I'm going to get one more win. I'm going to call someone to make them feel better. Whatever it is, I'm going to take one more action step. But I will tell everybody who's listening to this, reframing is going to reshape your identity. It's going to reshape your attitude, and it's going to reshape what the outside world is going to draw to you when we make it a habit.
Okay, this is so good. So you mentioned that your coach brought this up to you and you had been practicing it already for 5 years. Let's say somebody's listening to this podcast and this is a foreign concept. They've never heard of reframing before. What is their first step to implementing this into their daily life?
Bulletproof everything in your favor. Even the good, acknowledge the good. When we acknowledge the good, we're acknowledging abundance. So we're going to allow more abundance to come. If you have adversity, look for the good in the adversity. Look for where did I attract this adversity? Like, where was my thinking? So you could find some of your gaps, and that's good. Because as we get aware of them, we're going to release the double binding messages. So start for the next 30 days. I'll give them the action step right now. For the next 30 days, commit to reframing. Commit everything you look for the good in it. And if you make that a commitment, you're going to find the good.
Raj, I think one of the best ways for everyone to make this a habit is to ask themselves a question every time it comes up or every time an obstacle comes up. What is a good question to help you reframe?
What is the good in it?
Oh,
it is so simple. When you're reframing, you got to look for the good. If you look for the good, you're going to find it. Mm-hmm. And we want to get in the habit that we think there's a good in everything. We want to get in the habit. That's reshaping your mindset. You know, your vision starts the process. What do I really want? But vision isn't enough. We have to build a significant mindset, a mindset of mental endurance. We are marathon runners in our mindset. It's not a destination. This is a journey. Then you make a strong mindset part of your identity. And one of the parts of your identity that's going to give you so much strength is looking for the good, bulletproofing everything in your favor. Literally, I've been doing it now. I mean, at the time I talked to my coach, I'd been doing it for 5 years. I've probably been doing it since 2011.
Mhm.
And so I have a lot of practice on this, but it started with that first move. How do you create greatness? You've got to get started. You're never going to be great until you get started. You don't have to be great to get started, but we've got to start bulletproofing. This is a part of us. And as you do, you're going to reshape your whole world.
So good. Arash, we already jumped into the action step. I think this was the perfect episode. It's a shorty this week for our 1-year anniversary. Thank you all for joining us. Arash, any last words before I wrap us up?
Yeah, we want to make it a habit to be focused on the results we want to be getting, not the results we're currently getting. So if you watch yourself, and this is towards reframing, if you watch your language, if you watch most people, their language is based on present results. And if your language is based on present results, that's where your focus is. So I want you to be obsessed with seeing yourself in your mind's eye, in your actions and in your disciplines of having the results you really want to have. And every time you don't reframe it, every time you don't readjust yourself, recalibrate yourself, and always come from a neutral state.
So good. Arash, thank you so much. And thanks to all of you for joining us for another episode of 7 Figure Standard Podcast. We will be back next week with a new episode. In the meantime, please share this with your friends and family. Leave us a rating and review, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Arash.
Thanks, Mikey.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7 Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mikey and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7 Figure Standard.